the most important thing which happened after 45, where there was, of course, a lot of hatred remaining from the years of occupation, it dawned upon me in any case, and I think on quite a few, that there was no chance of rebuilding Holland economically without accepting that the German economy would be rebuilt. And after the beginning of the Marshall Plan, the Americans have made that very clear also. And that created, in many ways, a very big difficulty, a vicious circle. All right, you have to accept that what the heart of industrial Germany was, the Ruhr, coal, steel, would be rebuilt. But what sense to have it been rebuilt if it was to build again bombs, to destroy Rotterdam again? How do you break out of that circle? But within these 2 years, 48, 50, the shift was total, and people began to see, partly also because the Marshall Plan, that is a very important aspect. The Marshall Plan gave money, but that was not the most important thing. The Marshall Plan said, if you don't want to work together, including Germany, on the foot of equality, then there's no money for you. On May 10th, 1950, when we, in our morning newspapers, saw the Schuman Declaration, we were absolutely flabbergasted, but deeply impressed, because that was at last an answer to the breaking the vicious circle. What he had really in mind was a revolutionary act changing the very nature of relations between not only France and Germany, not only between the six, but on a wider basis, even wider than Europe. And that impressed me enormously, enormously. The Monnet philosophy was never a philosophy about France and Germany or the six, or even Europe. It was a worldwide view of how to structure peace. Now, we have experimented with it in 50 years. I'm not saying that it's the only force, but we have had 50 years of enormous development, peace and security. But that peace and security will not last if there is no road to peace and security in the rest of the world. The next war, if it ever comes, will be even more terrible than the 2 world wars which my generation has seen. And I think there is no other way than this slow and difficult process of creating something else than just military power. The man who was the negotiator for Britain, later Prime Minister of England, Edward Heath, was in Brussels to go to the last council meeting, knowing that the French Minister of Foreign Affairs, Couve de Merville, would announce that France refused to further negotiations. Before that meeting, Monnet had invited Heath in his hotel to breakfast, and I accompanied him, and we went to see off Heath going to that council, knowing that it was the end, in any case, for this first attempt. I went back to Monnet's room in the hotel, and Monnet laughed. And I said, because I was terribly sad, because we had worked very hard, done our best to get this thing through. So I was I was very unhappy. I said, why do you laugh? And when I said, I'm laughing because of the difficulties we will have with the United States when they will have to understand that they have to be part of a greater whole. When you ask me whether this utopia of peace, of lasting peace, can be established, only the future can answer that question. But there's one question which the past has answered, and that is that there's never been either a balance of power structure or hegemony that has not broken down and led to war. Now, that is abstract and it's not concrete, it doesn't burn me now. But if our leaders and the citizens of Europe are not able to see it, then who can't learn from history will have to do history over. And I very much hope that the actual convention and le prince qui nous gouverne, as the Bray used to say, our governments will be wise enough to continue this experiment not only inside Europe, but also with the voice of Europe in the world.